this is episode 155, and today with us we have Bob Lachance. So he's the founder and CEO of the premier virtual assistant staffing company called REVA Global LLC. Bob specializes in helping customers automate their business through use of trained real estate virtual assistants. So before starting REVA Global LLC, Bob played professional hockey for 8 years, 4 years in the United States and 4 years in Europe, before going into real estate in 2004, where he acquired his first flip shortly after and since completed over 800 transactions. Some of his other highlights are started 2 very successful real estate coaching programs, 2 technology companies, and various of real estate products as well. And of course, for more information, go to revaglobal.com about the assistant staffing option, outsourcing people. It's a great thing to do in this time and age. And if you want to get in contact with them personally, it's going to be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, company, and personal links is going to be down there in the show notes as well. So Bob, I want to say a big thank you again for joining me today on this episode.
Awesome. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So I almost got winded here by reading all this impressive bio of yours. So where should we start? What do you think? What's a good starting point for us? Because first question I would like to ask you, again, for the people who are looking and they're stuck in a position, first of all, and they don't know what to do with the future. Maybe they're uncertain. What's going to happen with their personal jobs, or, if I'm going to continue to do that or start my own personal business. Question is, have you always been an entrepreneur like this from a day one, and you have some, DNA, in you that helps you to accomplish different projects, or do you think somebody can, did what you did right now?
Yeah, I think anyone could do what I did. It takes focus, it takes motivation, and it takes drive. Just a little bit of my backstory. I went to Boston University for 4 years, but I went there to quite frankly, and to be honest with you, I went there to play ice hockey. My goal was to make the NHL. I got drafted 6th round by the St. Louis Blues. Unfortunately, I didn't get a shot at playing in the NHL for a long time. So I played in their minor league system, and then I went to Europe for 4 more years. So I played 4 years in the United States, 4 years in Europe. And then I got married, had my first child, and I had a decision. Maybe, a lot of individuals will look at this as changing career paths, because you can't play a professional sport forever. Father time catches you. So I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, what am I going to do? Am I going to take my kids, or my wife and kid, out of the United States and bring them over to Europe, where I could probably play another 10 years possibly? Or do I need to grow up and start doing whatever everybody else does? I didn't know at the time. So I bought a bunch of real estate courses, real estate books, all this. So I immersed myself with just real estate education, because I decided that I wanted to jump into something that did not need a college degree. Like I said, I went 4 years to Boston University, but I left early. I left 2 classes early before getting my degree. So didn't want to go back to school, jumped into real estate with 2 feet. And, one thing I did notice when I jumped in is that you don't have a big team or sphere of influence or network behind you when you make that jump at the beginning. For me personally, this was before coaching programs. This was before a lot of stuff that we have access to, before Facebook had all of these forums, communities. So when I made the jump, I was on my own. Like you said a little bit earlier, I had my first flip. Ended up making an offer. They accepted the offer, made a little money on it, but I realized I had 0 systems. So I found a real estate investment company, and I went to that event, met a bunch of different people within it. So that's when I started learning networking. So I met a bunch of individuals like yourself, shaking hands, meeting people. And I asked everybody in that particular event who the best investor was in the area. I live in Connecticut, United States. So everyone pointed this one gentleman. So I went up to him. I said, "Hey, Pat, you have no idea who I am, but everyone keeps pointing at you. I'm not looking for a job. I'm looking to do absolutely anything. I am very green. I'm raw. I don't know much about real estate, but I'm looking to jump into the business." So that's really how I got started. 0 background, 0. I can't say I was an entrepreneur growing up. My dad owned a business, but that's really how I got my start.
Awesome, awesome. And I mean, now like multiple business and business projects happening. I mean, so first of all, I just want to come back to the point because I think it's definitely worth mentioning. I mean, 800 transactions. So of course, that for somebody is thinking like, oh my God, is that in a year? Of course not. It's been 16 years since you did a, fix and flip business. And like, can you talk about the first year? Because if we're going to divide 800 by 16, we're going to get 50. So have you always did like 50, like deals per year, or what was your like, in the beginning stages? Again, I think it would be valuable. Your answer would be valuable for the people who are looking to get involved with the how, fix and flip business.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question because real estate is a long game. If anyone jumps into real estate and thinks they're going to get rich quick, they should get out of the game right now because it's not going to happen. It takes a long time. I got very, very lucky. And I say lucky because, the first offer I made, they accepted it. But if I didn't do my due diligence and I bought it wrong, I could have lost a lot of money. I'd be telling a way different story than I did right now. But how I got started is the first thing I did is I took action. I read a course and it told me all about what door knocking was, what farming area was, farming areas. What a farming area is, I got my car and I drove down every single side street in West Hartford, Connecticut, where I live. And I looked at different properties. If they had, long grass, I'd write down their address. I'd go home and I'd skip trace it. If it had a real estate sign on it, I'd pick up the phone and I would call. So the first step is I took action. I didn't sit back and say, hey, I'm waiting for somebody to do the business for me. I knew that I 100% had to do the business because I needed to feed my family. That was my first, motivation. And coming from a sporting background, you had to work for your team to be successful. So that was always my mindset where, my family now is my team. I have to make sure that they're successful. So I have to go out and do my part. So I found my first deal, made an offer, they accepted it. And here's a takeaway I do want everyone to listen to and understand is that I didn't have contractors set up. I didn't have money set up. I knew nothing about rehabbing, but I thought I was a rehabber in my mind. So when they accepted my offer, properties listed on the MLS for, I think it was about, I'm dating myself. This is back in 2004. I think it was about $175,000. And I made an offer at 135. I didn't think they were going to accept it. I'm throwing, everyone says, just make offers. Well, guess what? They accepted the deal. And I'm like, uh-oh, what the heck do I do now? But, it's again, if you put yourself out there, I got on the phone, hammered the phones, found money, found contractors, put it all together, closed on it, ended up making $32,000 that first deal, right? Which is fantastic. And a lot of learning lessons. I was back and forth to Home Depot, probably 3 to 5 times a day, no joke. And I had no systems. I didn't, like I said, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what to do. The first day actually that I bought the house, I put a ladder up on the garage and I was going to rip the roof, take the roof off because I thought I was, like I said, I thought I was a rehabber. The ladder slipped. I fell off the roof. I almost broke my shins. And right then and there, I'm like, I really need to learn how to run a business because at that time I was a technician. So right away, I took my tool belt off, threw it away, and then I had to learn how to be an entrepreneur from there. So that was the first deal, and then but that first year I did one deal.
Got it. So
one deal.
Got it. So can you talk about? I mean, do you currently actively doing fix and flips at the moment, or what's happening?
Yeah, we have. I think I got to look at my board. We have 4 going on right now. So we actively do wholesaling and rehab and buy and hold. I just sold my last commercial building, and I owned some syndication stuff.
Got it. And what state are we talking about?
Connecticut. I'm in Connecticut right now, so that's primarily where I do my fix and flips. I have a syndication deal out in Texas, or down in Texas.
Got it. Okay. So for the fix and flip businesses, that's what you're going to continue to do, or are you doing that because you're looking to scale again when it comes to real estate investing into different asset classes, or are you going to keep continue to do the fix and flip at least for now?
Yeah. So here's the way I look at fix and flip. Here's where I look at wholesaling. Wholesaling, fix and flip allow you to have cash to be able to take and put into buy and holds. That's really what the long-term game for any extremely successful real estate investor that has more hair in their head than not, because if you're going to worry about, or if you're going to always look to just wholesale, you're going to burn out, right? There's a time wholesaling is fantastic and we do it. And it's great to generate quick cash, but you have to do something when you have that cash. You have to put some away. It's kind of like, when you're working in as a 9-to-5 or putting money away in a 401k. It's kind of the same concept there.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay, so before we move on to the VA service, because that's what I wanted to have you on today to kind of discuss, that's I want to keep it the main topic. But just want to ask you, what will be kind of the key components into having, building this business when it's 800, plus transactions and going, keep going from there? Like, what are the main components? So somebody, who comes again with zero knowledge, again with probably with some, willingness to sacrifice their own personal time to learn things, again, exactly as you did. So, but what they're going to be looking for, to make the business, sustainable and successful moving forward?
Yep. It's always going to first start with you. And if you're going to build a team, and you can't do this yourself. I know a lot of people that start off by themselves, but they burn out quick. It really takes a team if you want to do this, long-term, whether you work with contractors, whether you have attorneys, you have title companies, you have mortgage brokers. It's going to take a team over time. Start by yourself. And what I would first focus in on is marketing, because if you don't market, what I mean by that, whether you're text messaging, cold calling, direct mail, whatever marketing channels you're working on, that's going to get your phone ringing. If your phone is not ringing, you're not going to make any money. And the phone has to be ringing on a consistent basis. All right, leads. And I mean, when I say phone ringing too, that means whether you're driving in leads online as well, whether you're branding coming in, the leads have to come into you for you to be able to then go back out and connect with those sellers. Because, just like any business, if Apple didn't have marketing and advertising, they wouldn't be in business, right? It's the same kind of concept.
Yeah, exactly. So when I talk with people just like yourself and ask them the short question, sales and marketing, like I would say 95% plus everybody says marketing. Because again, is what you said, if nobody knows you, I mean, it will be very difficult to make any sales,
Yeah.
So can you talk about your personal experience, implementing your own systems in your personal business? Because I think it will give a, better perspective for people. And, can you tell just some success stories that you achieved, again, in the beginning stages when you kind of understood, like, it's enough of, of me falling from roof on my shins and, banging my,
Yeah.
So when you started to implementing those type of systems, what type of success have you achieved when it comes to marketing?
Yeah, and you'll find that whatever system that you use, right? So like what I use today, and I'll take a step back and go over some of my challenges that I've run into before, right? Mm-hmm. So our main channels right now are cold calling, text messaging, direct mail, and we do social media branding to get our name out there to where people know us, find us, and see us, and will call us online, right? So those are the main functions. And we kind of play around with PPC as well. Some of the challenges that I've made in the past is I would start a marketing channel and then I would get a couple deals, then I would stop because I get busy either working on a project or, I get all happy, I'm closing the deal, I make a lot of money, I get lazy. Real estate investing is a business that needs to be done consistently on a consistent basis. And when I say consistently, I mean every week. So the beauty of where we're at today and where I was, back in 2004 when I started, there's a lot of different companies you could outsource a lot of this, all of this work to, right? So that's the beauty of where we're at. Guess what? Now back in the day, I used to literally take an envelope, lick all the envelopes, stuff all the envelopes. Now there's machines that do all of this and have the same exact font as if you're handwriting, right? So it's unbelievable. So back in the day, I used to do that myself. Now you have companies that will do that for you and more inexpensive than we did it back then. So a lot of the stuff that we need to do is automate a lot of what we do. We always say automate and delegate, right? So that's a little bit, I just want to touch upon that. And I know if it's okay, I want to bounce back from,
Sure.
Where I am today to back, when we first started, because I think it'll help your listeners.
Yeah, so please go ahead. Like, because one thing that's very interesting that you mentioned, that we continue to switch gears. You know, like things are going faster and faster, as you said, you know, like even the handwriting is not ours anymore. You know, like the letters that somebody's is getting, and you know, like, hey, look, I'm looking to buy a property, sincerely, Robert, whatever. It's like, it's not the person even, you know, it's all those technology pieces that helps us to leverage our time. Because what you're saying, like, if it's definitely fix and flip, it is a full-time job, you know, for those people. And some of those people don't have any more than just two hands and, you know, just 24 hours to do something with branding and social media and to send the letters, to do this and different things, you know. So and that's where virtual assistants come in play. And again, your service comes in play. So with that type of business, like virtual assistants, like, do you work with let's say real estate developers and multifamily syndicators, and how does that benefit their companies when it comes to, let's say, selling off, you know, individual, you know, units, or, you know, townhouses, or, you know, raising capital process?
Yep. Yeah. So if you look at all different types of meetings of real estate investors, right? If you put all of real estate hats on, you have agents, you have investors, you have wholesalers, rehabbers, buy and hold investors, syndicators, multifamily owners, right? Property managers. We have a lot of property managers that use our service as well. So you start looking at every single one of those different types of companies. It really starts with lead generation, right? You got lead generation, you have marketing, you have lead intake, you got deal analysis, you got writing offers, and then you need some sort of exit strategy, right? So if you really look in terms of those different buckets, you could say, and this is how I set my business up is with all of my virtual assistants running literally almost everything. So on our lead generation, we build a buyer's list on our wholesale side, and we also have lead generation on our seller side, or building our motivated seller lists, if you will. So on the buyer side, our virtual assistants are going to Facebook groups, are going to LinkedIn groups, are going to Google, right? They're logging in and joining all these groups under my profile. And what they're doing is they're connecting with everyone within that group, scraping the leads, pulling them out into a Google sheet, picking up the phone, calling them to see exactly what they're buying today, what area they're buying, how much money they have, etc. So they're doing all of this heavy lifting for me. So now when I get a property under contract, if I'm looking to wholesale it, I know who I'm wholesaling it with, or to, I should say. That's on the buyer side. So that is like lead generation, building a buyer's list. That would go under that umbrella. Building a seller's list, very simple. They go to sites like Zillow, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, every for sale by owner site. Same thing. Pre-foreclosure. We have a pre-foreclosure site here in Connecticut. So they go online on the judicial website and scrape all of those leads for me, put it on a spreadsheet, and then we skip trace them, looking for the best phone number that's attached to that particular potential motivated seller. And then what we do is hand it off to our virtual assistant cold calling team, and our cold calling team just hammers the phone to gauge seller motivation. I know I just packed a bunch into that, so sometimes I talk very fast, so I apologize.
No, that's no worries. I think that's digestible, so that's fine. So so talking about, again, like, where are those people based? Is some of the portion, like, virtual assistants going to be based in the States, or that's going to be Philippines or India? Like where those people are?
Yeah, all my virtual assistants are out of the Philippines. I've had various companies. I started my first company back in 2014. I've been back and forth to the Philippines a bunch of times, obviously pre-COVID, right? So hopefully that opens up soon so I could go back. But I'm back and forth to the Philippines very, very often, because we have our whole team there. We have our management team. We have an office there. So it's it's a great place to have a company. You know, I tried different companies from around the world, and I found that Philippines for us suits real estate investors very, very well.
Yeah, definitely. Because I came across a few virtual assistants myself personally, and I know, you know, some other companies, because, you know, there's of course other companies, of course, not pitching their own companies, but there are companies who are doing exactly the same thing, and a lot of those are, you know, choosing Philippines for, you know, a couple of reasons. I don't know, probably work ethic, and the second is, you know, probably the first one is English, because they have a very good, you know, educational system, and English kind of is very important for them. So
you nailed it. I mean, they put a high value on education. very family oriented, neutral accents, English proficiency is excellent. You nailed a lot of those. One of the things is, as individuals, they're eager to please, and they look at your business as their business, which is a really good place to be in when you're bringing someone else on your team.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So talking about the branding itself, I mean, what do you see, like, let's say real estate companies, and it could be, flipping houses, development, multifamily syndication.
Yeah.
Like, would you give any advice to those people? Because a lot of those people are struggling with the branding. So what will be kind of your takeaways for those people?
Yeah, so branding is really important. I mean, anything that we do, we have to be out there, right? So whether you're on, if you're on the professional side, it's LinkedIn, right? If you're looking for syndications, if you're looking for property manager, if you're looking for big type developers, LinkedIn is a great place to be. Obviously Facebook, right? Instagram as well. But one of the things that I always recommend is make sure that you post on one of those platforms per day, right? And a lot of them, now are intertwined because, one owns the other, et cetera, on a different platform. And there's tools out there that you could use, but we have our virtual assistant team post on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So our name is out there. And please do know when you do brand, it takes time, right? It's not like I said, when we first started this podcast, real estate's not a get rich quick scheme at all.
Yep.
Either is branding. Branding takes time, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, etc.
So we're talking about organic branding.
Correct. And, it starts with, even when you're posting, all of that starts to be more organic over time as well, right? So you have someone manually posting something, whether it's an article, whether it's a quote, whether it's joining groups, whatever they're doing, so this is what our virtual assistants do for us. It's always posting, it's getting your name out there. So we have a podcast, a little different than yours as well, called the Friday Coffee Break. It's a really open Q&A, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday. And it took us a long time to get it rolling, right? We do it every Friday. Just like you're on your 150 something episode, right? It takes time to get your name out there, to get on different platforms. So that's what I would recommend. Same thing with social media branding. It just takes time. So be very patient, but do it consistently, because over time, it will 100% push you ahead of the pack and separate you from your competition.
Got it. Yeah, definitely. Branding is a no-brainer in this day and age where we live in a digital kind of age. And, like what was before with all the, before was the jobs like, working in the factories, and it was kind of industrial type of age, with the railways and like, so industrial age is long ago over. So if people are still questioning, should I start a podcast or YouTube channel? I mean, you're a little bit behind the game, and you need to catch up, for sure.
And it's never too late to start, right? Never too late to start.
Oh yeah, definitely. The key is just starting out, and that's why I wanted to have, this question. But what would you say for the people, the ones who are saying, hey, look, like Bob, it all sounds great, but I don't have the patience. Give me something right now so I can get quick results. Like, do you provide some let's say some paid advertisement stuff for people, or if no, is that what you're going to continue? Like, is that what you're going to do in the future, maybe?
Yeah, we train our virtual assistants on daily posting, right? And how they actually post. They literally follow what they do for us in my business. So they'll post on a continuing basis. We set them up with a calendar, and they'll have different types of posting at different time, and what articles to pull and what content to use to make you look like the expert in your business. So, and that's something I highly recommend anybody does, whether it's with our company or with another company. It's got to be you have to be consistently out there.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. The consistency, it plays exactly, because every time I talk with a business owner, just like yourself, because my personal vision, I'm always looking at the things long term, and I think everybody should, so what you're saying. So branding is very important, right? So what do you see like happening, let's say 2020, 21, like, do you see any like new platforms, like now people talking about the TikTok and a lot of things happening there, some real estate investors moving to those platforms too. So do you see something else coming up, or maybe some platforms that people and companies should pay attention?
You know what? Technology, there's always stuff that changes in technology. There's a company that comes out, every single day. It just takes a while for them to actually be there. It was Snapchat. I never used Snapchat. I never thought it was going to benefit my business, right? And I never did it. Now TikTok, there's a lot of real estate investors, like you said, that are start migrating now to TikTok because that's where all the eyeballs are, all the way from my 11-year-old son to my 60-plus-year-old grandmother, right? Or my 60-plus-year-old mother-in-law, I should say, not my grandmother, but my mother-in-law. It was actually looking at you have a wide range of eyeballs on there that are going to be looking at you and your company and are going to be searching for you. So I know TikTok is going to be and is right now a platform that a lot of individuals are using. I personally have not made the jump on TikTok. I still don't, I don't know, for me personally, as a real estate investor or an owner of a virtual assistant company, I don't know if my avatar and my eyeballs that I want to pay for are on TikTok. But as time goes on, I may change. But for me personally, I am not doing that right now.
Got it. So what will be kind of top, let's say, 2 or 3 platforms that people should be paying attention? Because, sometimes for the people who don't have access capital available, maybe to hire virtual assistants, and of course for the pricing, all of those different pieces, get in contact with Bob personally, or go to revaglobal.com and see how much the services cost. But what would you recommend for those people who don't have the budget to do it yet? Like what 3 platforms they can focus on personally themselves?
Yeah, I would say LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram.
Got it. So any particular reasons why those 3?
You know what? They have the most, aside from TikTok, but they have the most users. And there's so many different, I'll use Facebook as an example. There's so many different groups on Facebook that you could join. And, just here in Connecticut, there's, I don't know, can't tell you how many real estate investor groups there are, right? There's a wholesale group, there's a rehab group, there's a buy and hold group. And and those are all 3 different types of investors. There's syndicator groups, right? There's buy and hold multifamily groups, right? Mm-hmm. So if you want to really hone in on your target market, Facebook is a very, very good place to go. And I know LinkedIn as well. So those 2 for me are my top.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you. So again, talking about you mentioned that you have 2 very successful real estate coaching programs. So can you talk about what is included in there? Is it going to be all, flipping or is it going to be something else also?
So just going through the process. So those were along the way. So I started a couple coaching programs going along the way. I'll give you a 2-second rundown of how I got started in this. I know I jumped ahead. A lot of times I jump ahead. I drink a lot of coffee. I don't know. I have a lot of energy. But so when I did my, that's right. So when I did my first flip, I realized I had 0 systems. So I met my buddy, Pat. So I started door knocking after that one deal. Like I said, I did one deal the first year. Then I started door knocking for 1 year straight from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. I was knocking on doors on people that are losing their house, pre-foreclosure list. So I was knocking on doors, talking to them, learning really how the whole short sale business was. This is back in 04, 05, 06, right? So locked a bunch of deals up under contract, handed it over to my business partner, who was not my business partner at the time. He was just, an individual who took me under his wing. He ended up closing those deals. I did not personally. I graduated from door knocking, and then I started negotiating short sales. So I was on the phone literally day in and day out, talking to banks, learning the process, learning the system. I hired a door knocker that took my spot. So now this is really where building your business happens, right? I was a door knocker, pulled myself out. I taught a door knocker what to do with scripts. Now I was negotiating short sales. Then I took myself out of that spot, hired a negotiator, right? And then within the meantime, I was documenting everything throughout the process. Then at the end of 2005, 2006, we helped start our first coaching program. That was my business partner and I. And that was a short sale coaching program. Then in 2007, at the end of 2007, we got approached by a couple of buddies of ours that were looking to make the jump and start a coaching program. So they knew that we've already started one. So we helped them launch that. And then that's still around today, a very successful coaching program. But through that process, I'm investing, creating products. I created a short sale flagship system product, a couple of software companies in the meantime. And then 2014, there was a huge need for individuals that needed to get their time back. They either wanted to scale, become more efficient. And those are real estate investors, professionals. So then that's when I launched my virtual assistant company. So that's a long and short. I should have covered that at the beginning, but like I said, coffee gets you sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, that's good. Again, living in a digital age, as I said, it's definitely worth mentioning because you have, as I mentioned, two software companies, and you just mentioned that. So can you talk about those software companies and like what do they do, and why have you decided to create them?
Yep. So we created them back, like I said, in the short sale world. We needed a platform that worked for us. So it was called Manage My Short Sale was the first one. Then we changed the name to Prop Tracker. And then we sold that one off to an individual that still does short sales today, is one of the individuals that we taught how to do it. So he uses that main platform. Then we created a company called Finer Solution. That was a big CRM company. And so it took probably 3 to 4 years to really roll that out. We had hundreds and hundreds of users. And then we decided, you know what? I looked in the mirror, I looked at my buddy Pat and my partner Pat, and we said, dude, we are not software engineers. This is not our lane. Let's get back to real estate. Let's get back to coaching. Let's get back to mentoring. So then we pivoted. And that was one of the times where, you know what, we had a lot of money that we can invest in something that we needed. And then we decided, wow, you know what, other users could actually use what we created. And that's really how we ventured off into that system. We really realized that if we were going to do that and be software engineers or create a SaaS, software as a service, you have to do that full time, where we did too many things at the same time. And for me personally, I'm a business owner more on the real estate investing virtual assistant side rather than someone who owns a software company. True transparency.
Yeah, okay. So if you feel like, software development or engineering is kind of not your thing to do, but if you're, again, because you're seeing the market from the inside, being an active investor and maybe seeing that other companies are not making, softwares that would be suitable, let's say for, house flipping business or multifamily development, like why not give one of the teammates to create something like that, because I'm sure they have the time to do those type of things. But like, do you see that something is missing with softwares in the real estate industry and could be added to make things run smoother on a day-to-day basis, let's say?
Yeah, and I have a ton of buddies that have software companies because I use their products, right? They use our service because our virtual assistants run their service. But what I do find is there's so many good services out there, from text message platforms. My buddy owns a company called Launch Control. So him and I do a lot of work together there. There's a lot of different CRMs, some of them, RealFlow is a very good one. There's a lot of Podio based software. You got, Real Estate Investor has a software. There's some fantastic different types of software out there now that, it's really tough to not find something good. Meaning there's so much good stuff out there that I would just recommend pick one and stick with it, because there's a lot of good things that come with that. And be careful with the shiny object syndrome, because you're gonna get sold over here, you get sold over there, and you're gonna spend $1,000 setting up here. So just pick one, stick with it, and that's some of the advice I'm gonna give everybody, because I've made that mistake many a times.
Got it. Yeah, sometimes the ads just get you,
They do. Yeah. Especially if you're in sales, right? Sales guys are the easy guys to sell.
Awesome. I love it. So can you talk about your personal goals? And I think what's going to happen again with the flipping business, as you mentioned, well, you said like you have 4 deals in the pipeline currently, something like that.
4 flips. Yeah, we have 14 on the board right now. So 14. That's a mix of wholesales, buy and holds, rehabs.
And that's for this year.
That's for right now. That's for right now.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
We've ramped it up the last year because, like I said, I use my virtual assistants for literally everything that we do, from lead generation to marketing to disposition. So we do,
and that's why the pipeline is full.
That's right. That's right. And again, it's consistently, right? Yeah. Consistency.
So what is your personal goal when it comes to house flipping business, or just with real estate in general? What are you planning to accomplish until the end of the year?
So to the end of the year, which we're close to the end of the year, I want to add another 5 doors, right? Purchase another 5 doors. And in the end, if I'm going to go to probably a 2-year plan, I want to add another 100 to 150 doors underneath our company and us owning them. Because that's really the way to build your wealth and to pass a legacy off to your children, to my kids.
Yeah, definitely. And with REVA Global, what is the plan?
Yeah. The plan, we're doing very well right now. We're doing some very good strategic planning and strategic relationships with some of the bigger coaching programs out there. So that's our main goal, to do that, because we put a lot of time and energy into our support team, our training team, to make sure that we deliver the best product out there. I'm a firm believer that if anybody's going to invest in any service out there, that particular company should be using their own service, right? And I think that's very, very important for me personally, because I'm out here like this, right? I'm out here talking to you, and if I have to talk to someone who uses our service, I want to make sure I can deliver what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Great. So part of the legacy that you mentioned again is leaving, those cash flow and assets, for the future generations of yours, part of the family. So, but what other things are involved in that legacy that you want to leave behind you?
Yeah, it's some other things are very important. It's the process, right? I bring my kids into my office every single day, and they see how we build our company, how we build REVA Global from ground up. They've seen this. My youngest is 11 years old. My oldest is 16, and my middle is 13 as of right today. So they see all this happening. They know, I just got a fire damaged property. We own a lake house up about 35 minutes away, and there's a fire damaged property that we just got under contract, and we'll wholesale for a quick $8,000 profit. So I brought them by that property, and they're like, "Dad, what are you going to do with this?" So I explained exactly what wholesaling is, and they're like, "Really interesting." So now little things like this, not only with REVA Global, my business, but if you create a legacy for your children, let's just say, they need to understand and learn how it works, because if you learn how things work, you're going to be way better off later in the future. That's one of the things that I wish I did when I was a kid. I was aware of how things worked, because you're going to be so much better off than your friends when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, if you understand how things work.
Exactly. So yeah, if you inherit the money, and if you inherit the knowledge, that's different.
Knowledge is way more important, because you're going to go way further than someone who just inherits money, because you're going to be a broke dude with no knowledge if you don't know how to do it.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. So that's beautiful. That's a great legacy. And again, guys and girls, make sure to get in contact with Bob, of course, about the coaching. If you want to start your own personal real estate business, if you're thinking about that, doing some, flipping. If you're looking to scale and grow your business using of the virtual assistants, it's definitely a great way for you to scale that. Just free up your hands, from the, things that maybe don't keep your attention on that, which is marketing and branding and, sales and sending, letters or whatsoever, all these different things. Make sure to get in contact with Bob, or go to revaglobal.com for more information. As I said, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Bigger Pockets, all of those links are going to be down below for you to check for more free resources. And but Bob, really want to say a big thank you again for coming over, sharing all this great information, knowledge, motivation, tips, strategies. I mean, everything's here. So I appreciate it.
Awesome. Appreciate having me. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Guys and girls, before we're going to go, one last thing that I wanted to ask you: if you share this episode with a friend of yours who always talks about real estate investing, or best case scenario is looking to leverage his or her time with virtual assistant services, make sure to pass this episode along. Bob, again, I appreciate you for coming on today. And as always, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Thanks a lot.